Hey folks, it's my update for Tuesday, April 12th. I did one final trip with the Monster before I started working on the ES950, and actually made it to the dam for the first time in a while. I decided to go there first. I went straight there, and then I come up the hill, and then from there it's all downhill to Timmy's. So I figured I'd try it in reverse to see what would happen. And sat there for a bit. And I come into town, gents on the bench were out, so I sat and talked to them for a bit. And eventually Red showed up, so I got to talk to him too. He's still wandering around. And I got down to Timmy's and made it home no problem. I still had 2 bars left. I wasn't on my low battery warning, so everything was good. So as you've seen, I started work on the ES950. I've completed that now. You'll see that soon. So I'm driving the ES950 now. And the Monster is still drivable if I put the batteries back in it and put the seat on, but I'm not going to. It's time to start working. So for a while, I'm going to be driving the ES950. And it took me a few days to do that. I did what I could on the first day on making the frame for the batteries. And I'm off center here. That looks better. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I needed was down in the basement. So the next day, rooting through everything down there. Since we moved, everything down there still in boxes. Nothing's really sorted. So I went through every box that I had. And I picked out a bunch of things. Stuff that I knew I was going to need. Stuff I was looking for, and just other stuff that gave me ideas. Yeah, like I said, I grabbed that battery tie-down strap, which I had 2 of. I don't have a clue where the second one went to. It just they should be together, because everything from the basement and the old house and everything that was in the scooter shelter should be down there. So where it is, I don't know. But it didn't seem like I needed them anyway, so I didn't bother. So going through everything, it took everything out of me, and just found a box, put everything in that I could bring it out here, and it just took so much out of me. I didn't have any energy left. I didn't even bother going out that day. I just stayed in and relaxed. But I got it done, and I found a couple things. My plan for fixing the steering bearings on the Monster is to use a threaded rod with a nut on each end. And I got thinking, well, in order for that to work, I was planning on welding one of the nuts to the end of the rod so I could use it as a nut and bolt. And then once everything's together or in place, then I'll spot weld one of the nuts to the bottom frame. Then I won't have to worry about it moving, coming loose or whatever. So I got thinking about that. If I'm going to do that, why not just use a bolt to begin with? Because I'm going to be making one. So while I was in the basement, I found a couple bolts, 2 different ones to experiment with. And this is the bearing that Heartway sent me for the steering. Like I say, I don't think they're the right bearings, but they fit in the tube part. But they don't fit on here. So I have to get me smaller bolts. More on that later. So yesterday I got everything all finished up, and I went out for a victory lap. Took the ES950 out on its first trip, and got out on the road here, and it immediately went into error mode. I thought I had that fixed. Apparently not. So it took it a few tries to start it up again, and it went going. I never had any issues after that. So the other thing I noticed is, because it has the same issue as the Monster with the steering bearings. So they're doing the same thing. Both wheels are angled inward, one more than the other. I get on uneven surface, it's squirrely, it's all over the place. And the ES950 has super fast steering, so just a small change turns a lot. So it's really hard to control at a faster speed. And of course, going downhill, it still has its, you know, issue with ignoring the high speed limit. It doesn't have that anymore. When I'm going downhill, it'll just keep going faster and faster until I let off on the throttle. Which I don't mind. It just, you know, get a little more speed out of it. But with the steering all wonky, it's really hard to control. So other than that, it is slower than the Monster. It's not as comfortable a ride. It's bumpier. So it's not as enjoyable to drive, but I can drive it. That's the point. I got my freedom. While I'm working on the Monster, I can still go out and do stuff. So, and then of course every time I get on it, I'm reaching for the seatbelt, put the seatbelt on. I don't have one. So used to that. But I get that every time I go back to this, I do that. I'm trying to grab the seatbelt and it's not there. So, one thing that I can do that I couldn't do with the Monster is I don't have to park outside of Value Mart or Independent. It used to be Value Mart. It's got new owners now. They changed it to Independent. Can't think of the name. Fugoi something? Starts with an F. Something like Fugoi's Independent. I never remember. It's kind of a weird name. It's hard for me to remember it. I've heard it a few times. I still can't remember it. I know it starts with an F. Something like Fugoi's. Because I remember the first time I saw it on the receipt, I thought it said Fogies. So they changed it. But I don't have to park outside and walk in anymore. I can actually drive in. I couldn't do that with the Monster. The Monster would never fit. So there are a few stores. Sobeys, Food Basics in Hanover, and Walmart were the two stores I could actually drive the Monster into. There, the aisles were big enough, and the doorways and the checkouts were big enough. The checkouts at Food Basics were tight, but I could fit through them. And it's a sharp turn at the end to go back out. But other than that, I had no problem driving the Monster through there. Yeah, Walmart's got lots of space. So those are the only two places I've ever been able to drive the Monster in a store that I can recall anyway. So I was able to do that. I didn't have to park outside, which was kind of nice, because by the time I got finished everything, I was so worn out. I didn't feel like walking. I'm sure there will be days where I will park outside and walk in just to get some exercise, but I don't have to if I don't need to. So I went up to Timmy's and walked in there. I'm not taking the ES950 through the drive-thru. It just feels too weird. Just to me, the Monster's more of a road machine than a sidewalk machine. Just in my mind, because that's how I drive it. It's bigger. It's got better lighting on it. It's more street legal, I guess you could say, than the ES950 is. So I'm not comfortable doing that. So I'll walk in. I don't have a problem with that. I can get some exercise there too. So that's what I did. And then on my way back to town, I stopped at Home Hardware. Got me a couple more bolts. The right size. Best I could get. And they're the right length too. Between 3 inches and 3 1/4 inches is what I needed. These are 3-inch. But there is a little bit of play in there. The next size up of this bolt is too big and the bearing won't go on it. So here's my theory. When I put this all together, I've got the C-shaped bracket that sits on top of this, and then the bearing, Then the steering tube with the bearing in it. There's a bearing at each end. There's nothing in between, so there's no space or anything, there's no big deal. And the other bracket and the nut. So all this holds together. There's no lateral forces on the bearing whatsoever. So why it looks like it has the cup bearings in it, with the part at the top that's rounded, it becomes the inner raceway. I don't think that's necessary in this particular application, because like I said, there's no lateral forces on the bearings whatsoever. It's all this way. I'm not sure what word that would be. Lateral is this way. Whatever the other one is this way. That's the only, at the bottom it'll be mostly pushing in one direction. At the top it'll be mostly pushing in the other direction. But there's no forces this way. So I don't think the cup bearings are necessary anyway, so I can get away with this. The only thing I'm going to have to look out for is once I put these bearings in the steering tube, I'll have to see if they're sticking out or not, because if they are sticking out, I'm going to have to put a washer on that just covers the inner raceway of the bearing. Because I can't put a washer on both, because it's going to be pushing against both sides of the bearing, and it's either going to cause a binding issue or it's going to squeak like crazy. So because the outer part needs to turn with the steering. The inner part can stay solid with the shaft, it doesn't need to move, so I just put the washer against that and we're good to go, right? So I'll have to see how that all fits together once I get this, but I don't know what to do about this, because there is way too much play in there. A little bit of play is okay, but that much, top and bottom, it's going to cause it to lean again. It isn't going to solve it will solve the problem, but it's not going to eliminate it 100%. The wheels are still going to be on an angle, wearing out the tread. So I'm going to ask for suggestions. My thought right now is to just put electrical tape around just to take up that gap, because the bearings aren't going to move around. So unless in the summer when it's really hot and the electrical tape softens up and slides, then this tape probably isn't going to go anywhere. It might squish a bit, but it'll squish all the way around, so it can't go anywhere unless it squeezes out the sides, like that example there. So while I was at Home Hardware, I was looking at all the different things. They have the tubing. I tried different tubing. One tubing that will fit on here, but I only got it onto that far, and it wouldn't go any farther, and then I had a hard time getting it off. I had to get the lady that was trying to help me out, help me out with that. So I think I might go up to Rona. It's not going to happen today, I'm not doing it today, but I might go up to Rona and see if they have anything different. I just need something in there, something really thin, to take up that gap. Now, that's my only real issue, is that little gap. And other than that, everything else works. Bolt on the bottom, you stick it through. Once everything's lined up, I can spot weld it in place, and then I just have my lock nut at the top, which is basically what's on there right now. So that should work. Also, while I was at Home Hardware, I got me a new knife. This one's a little bigger than the other one. It's the smallest one they had, but it's the same style. It's folding. I can put it in my pocket or whatever. So I gotta find a place to make sure I always put it back. I'll probably set it on top of my little cabinets here. So I figured because I bought this, I'll find my old one. I did take another look today before I started this. I don't see it. I don't know where it is. So I have a new one now. So after Home Hardware, I sat and talked to Reg for a bit, and actually talked to him for quite a while. Sat there. Yeah, it looked like it was going to rain again, and then it cleared up. That's the way it was yesterday. We had periods of light rain come through, just spotty showers, nothing major. Yeah, it looked like it was going to. It was beautiful when the sun was out. It was so warm. I actually felt like I didn't need my coat. And then when the clouds come back in again, that's another shower coming through, it cooled off a lot. And it was to the point where I felt like I needed my gloves, which I didn't have with me, but that's the drastic change that was there. So I tucked him for quite a while. And I continued on. I went down to the dam, sat there for a bit. And one of my videos a while back, I showed where it looked like trees were being cut down across the river. Well, I confirmed that. There's a couple guys over there, a couple pickup trucks over there, and a chipper. So they were definitely cutting trees down. Quite a few of them, it looks like, too. Not sure what reason why, but that's what they were doing, so I confirmed that. That was definitely what was happening. So then I came back home, or not come back home, come back in town. Stopped at Circle K, got my milk, and then stopped at the post office and picked up the mail. Something for everyone yesterday. Everybody got something. So I'm on my way home. And coming down the road, and there's a parked car on the side of the road, and I really miss having the mirrors on the Monster. I gotta turn my head and look behind me to see if anyone's coming before I go down the road. So I'm kinda missing the mirrors. Those of you who've been with me for a while, you might remember the ES950 did have mirrors on it originally, but they got broken pretty quickly because they're mounted in plastic. You know, if you have everything too tight and you try to adjust the mirror, that's all it takes to break them. So they broke out of there pretty quickly. It was a really bad design. I have the mirrors, but they're just not mounted. I had no way of mounting them. So I really missed that. And I got home, the batteries were still reading full charge. So I didn't use much out of them. But they're more than twice the size of the original ES950 batteries anyways. Those are 40 amp and the Monster's batteries are 88, so you know, I can probably go 100 miles on these batteries. That's not even an exaggeration, really, now that I think of it. Because the 40 amp give me 40 kilometers. I get the same distance on the ES950 as the Monster. It lasts longer, but the scooter's slower, so it takes longer to get there, but it still goes the same distance, right? So I get 40 kilometers on 40 amp, 88, you know. Technically, I could get close to 100 kilometers. Not like I could last that long, but, you know. So, I'm ready to start on the Monster, but I can't yet. I gotta finish cleaning up the garage. You will see this. Yeah, you'll see this update before you see that. Because this will be Tuesday's update, and that video will be out on Thursday, so you will see that, or you'll see this first. I have to clean the garage up. I do technically have room to work on the Monster, but all this junk laying around that I keep tripping over, I need to finish my shelves back here. I need to finish this whole area here with what's left of my plywood. Put a couple more shelves in, and then I gotta put my snowblower back up on the shelf. I won't be using it anymore, and just get rid of the clutter. I'll have a whole lot more room to work on the Monster then. So I gotta do that, and I think I have lots of time. There's no real rush on it, because first of all, I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get parts from the Monster's dealer. My ball joints, rear tires, and charger. I'm not sure how long that's going to take, given the supply chain issues, because it took a while to get the batteries. About a month, I think it was, for them to get them, to bring them to me. And I bought me some new wire connectors. When I put the signal lights on the front of the Monster, just below the mirrors, center myself here. You remember I used those wire connectors to splice into the existing wires. Well, I bought a new type of wire connector. You actually cut the wire, and it's got holes in it. You stick the wire in, and you push this lever down, it locks it in. That connects to the one wire, and then it's got two on the other side, where you can connect two more wires that connect to that. And it's all these squish levers, right? You stick the wire and squish and done. Simple. Nothing to short, nothing to tape up. And there's all different ones. There's one to 2, which is what I got, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. Yeah, you can split it into five separate wires from one source. And then there's 2 inputs with multiple. It's just, there's so many different options. It's new. It says new. I've never seen them before. So I figured that would be an idea, because I still get error once in a while when I turn all the way to the left. So something up front is still causing an issue. And I'm just wondering if it's that wire hitting that bolt again. If you remember that, I discovered I moved the wire away from that bolt and that seemed to fix the problem, so I think that's what it was. It might be happening again, I don't know. But I'll be taking the front end apart anyways. I'll be looking in there, because I got a lot of rattling going on up there, so I gotta fix all that. So I'm looking forward to those. However, when I purchased these from Amazon, I wasn't paying attention. They're coming from China. Because normally when I buy something from Amazon, I make sure that Amazon stocks them, so they're coming from their warehouse. They're already in North America. I wasn't paying attention. So they're coming from China. Estimated delivery date is May 18th, or 17th, May 17th. So I'm gonna have to wait a month and a half. Well, at this point, it's April 8th today, so it might take me that long to fix the monster anyways, I don't know. But like I said before, I'm not gonna just fix what needs to be fixed and put it back together so I can drive. Because once I do that, I'm not gonna want to do any more work. I'm just gonna enjoy driving it. That's what happened last year. I never did anything last year because I was just enjoying being out driving. So I gotta make sure everything's done before I put the monster back together. So I have to wait for those. But hopefully they'll come sooner. Hopefully it won't take longer, because I've had a lot of things that took 3 months to come from China. So, but as far as actually doing the work, the weather's looking good, and it looks like it's going to cooperate. Right now we have a storm system. Like I explained in my last update, when the storm system's coming through, it's spinning counterclockwise, and it's sucking up all that heat from the southern states and bringing it up to us. That's what we've been enjoying. And then when the storm actually gets here, we get the storm, and then we get the backside of it, which is bringing the cold air down from the north. So we get this warm up, then the storm, and then the cool down until the next one comes through. That's the way it's been going, because the jet stream's like all over the place right now, and it's keeping this pattern going. So it's like been storm after storm after storm, and there's more coming, right? So right now we have 5 degrees. The low pressure is on us right now. That's where the rain came from. It's supposed to be spotty rain again today. I'm hoping we don't get anything. The sun was out. It's cloudy again, so I haven't put the waterproof camera case on the ES950 yet, so hopefully we don't get anything today. I think I try to go for a bit longer tour. So we got that coming. And if you look down at the bottom there, it says Canada spends the entire spring waiting for it to be spring. Actually kind of reminds me, we have a saying here in Canada. We have 4 seasons. We have almost winter, winter, still winter, and construction. That's what that reminded me of. It's spring, we're still waiting for spring. But it's not too bad. It's definitely spring weather right now. We do have a threat of snow coming. But it's that time of year. We can get anything. But after after this next storm system comes through, or approaches, you get that warm air funneling up from the southern states again. And we have the next week, all next week, all weekdays, 5 days, it's going to be in the teens. At least, that's what the forecast says at the moment. So it'll be perfect for working out there. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. Then the storm's going to come through and it's going to cool off to single digits again. This pattern will end eventually. So that's all I got. I can't think of anything else. That's all I got written down. I can't think of anything else. So I guess that's all I got until my next update on Friday, which will be April 15th. And I'm sure I'll have something to update on then. So I have 3 days to make my next update. So whatever happens in the next 3 days will be that one. So, actually 4 days. Because I got today. I do the update on the day the next update's coming out. So this is Friday, and my next update will be Tuesday. So I explained that, I think, in my last update. So I got whatever happens today, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 4 days. And then Tuesday I'll do my update on what happened in that period. You confused yet? You're confusing myself. So anyway, that's all I got. I'm going to head on out, and hopefully the weather holds pretty good. No rain. I'm going to go for a bit longer tour today. I might even try the school trail today. I'm thinking about it. I'm definitely going to try the park tour. I'm not going to go to the other side of the river yet. It's going to be pretty muddy up there, and there's probably still some ice in some places. But I'm going to try the park tour, and I'll probably try the school trail today. I'll see what happens. I will find out when I get out there. So, that's all I got. I will talk to you again on Friday. Thanks for watching.